Alright, guys, so I really loved the, I've really been loving the Superman Warworld saga. Yes, I know it's been done for a bit, but the trades are still coming out, and I think tomorrow the third volume comes out. So, yeah. Needless to say, the Warworld saga for Superman has been one of my favorite story arcs for Superman, and as many of you guys know, when I really love something, I tend to do a fanfiction idea on it. So here we are with, believe it or not, Sailor Moon, the Warworld saga. So this story is basically that what happens is that Sailor Moon and the rest of the Sailor Guardians are more or less like just out having just a day as a couple friends, oh, we're having a great day, no more evil or whatever. And in comes, they just see out of the sky these objects falling, and it turns out those are ships, and there's one ship, and it's being fired upon by others. Well, of course, Sailor Guardians get involved, and they discover that these guys are refugees being attacked by by troops sent by someone who wanted them either recaptured or dead. The refugees are protected by the Sailor Guardians, and the intruders are killed or driven off by the Sailor Guardians. So when Sailor Moon meets these refugees, they're like, "It's you, the princess, it's really you, where were you? We needed you, and you never came." So Usagi's obviously a little fucked up about that. So what happens is that Usagi brings them to Luna and Artemis, and they're like, "These guys are like, should not exist," and Usagi's like, "Why?" And Luna replies with, "Because these guys were from the golden age of the Moon Kingdom. It turns out that these guys were people of the Moon Kingdom. They were of the Silver Millennium, but what happened was these were an offshoot who traveled from the Silver Millennium and out into space. They were led by a group of astrologers and scientists who were in the Sailor Millennium and wanted to explore further out into space. Like, they wanted to see what was out there beyond the Outer Rim. So with Queen Serenity's blessing, that group went on like a pilgrimage out into space to see what was out there, but they never returned. Serenity tried finding them, she never found them, so she only assumed that they were all dead. Turns out they're not, and yeah, these people have long been not only surviving, but unfortunately, they've been under the boot of someone you don't want to mess with. That being Straxus. Straxus, the Decepticon warlord. Turns out, Straxus, in this story, Straxus was, like I said, he was a Decepticon warlord of Cybertron, but he kind of got sick of Megatron, he, along with Scorponok and Thunderwing, were like these three big warlords, and when Megatron left, Megatron chased after Prime and the others, that would lead to the Transformers story arc. What happens is that Straxus in here, he wasn't just, he, Thunderwing, and Scorponok divided up Cybertron among themselves. The difference was that Straxus was not content with it, and more or less, he basically went off on his own, and what he found was this thing called the Warworld. So Straxus took it over with his own little cadre of Decepticons, and from there they've been capturing and enslaving people from different races. Urkins, Cybertronians, Gems, all of them are now under the boot of Straxus, or as he's called, he who holds all chains. So Straxus is now like the Mongol of this. Straxus is the Mongol of this story, and he wants those refugees back. But there's another reason why he did that. The other thing is like Sailor Moon has been propped up because they obviously have like heard that that the Princess of the Moon returned. So the refugees of the Silver Millennium were like, "Yeah, we prayed and prayed that you would come back, but you never did. You left us." And she's like, "I didn't even know you guys existed. Like, I didn't even know, like, this is the first time I ever heard of you, but I'm gonna do my best to save you." Like, Usagi wants to go out into space with the Sailor Guardians and you know, go fight Straxus head on and save the other people. But Mars is like, that's when Rey speaks up and goes, maybe we shouldn't. Like, maybe we shouldn't go up there. And it's like, we don't know who this Straxus guy is. He sounds really powerful. And if he has an entire planet that he uses as like a battle station, what if we make him so mad that he comes here? What do you think that's going to happen to the planet? Like, we don't know who this guy is and what his... Like, I'm not... And Rey and her have this argument back and forth of, you know, what is to be done about these people. And Saga's like, these are my people. You know, thousands of years ago, like, we left them to die. I can't just look the other way for that. To which Usagi and even Ami points out the logic of, if we go up there, Straxus is going to be mad. This Straxus guy might come down at us with a lot of firepower. So we can't take on a fucking planet. Okay? And what's going to happen if he comes down here? Or like, we don't get, like, he hasn't affected Earth. Like, this hasn't affected Earth. We don't want to drag this trouble here. Maybe he doesn't even care. But, of course, Usagi's like, I need to save these people. And also, like, Rey and Ami especially, while some of the characters are, like, a lot of these Sailor Guardians are like, it sucks, but, like, we can't leave Earth undefended. If we go up there, who knows what's gonna come, because Makoto more or less brings up the major point of, okay, I'm not saying, like, she's not saying, like, I don't want to go, but what she says is, if we go, like, let's say we do go up there and go to this Warworld, kick Straxus' ass and free our people. Here's a couple problems with your theory, Usagi. We're gonna leave Earth unguarded. 2, what are we gonna do with all these people if they're still up there and we manage to save them? And 3, what if we don't come back? Like, the Earth kind of needs us, and it needs you. And he's like, these people, and Usagi goes, these people need me as well. So Usagi is like, look, I understand what you're gonna do, where this is going, so I'll just go. And everyone's like, what? You're gonna go? You're gonna go alone? And she's like, yeah, the rest of you guys will be fine. You know, Minako can definitely be a leader. She's proven that Rey and Minako can be great leaders. And yeah, I will go up there. I'll go up there and take on Straxus myself. And they're like, what if you don't come back? And she's like, well, I'll know you guys will be following behind. And I always come back. But here's the thing, is that Usagi understands that she can't go up there without backup. So what happens is she goes around in secret to build her own little team, a strike team, to go with her up alone. Like, she builds that alone. And who she gets together, she gets Snake Eyes, she gets Alistair, she convinces Alistair because she's like, don't you, like, I've heard a lot about you, Radio Demon, but you always sound so bored, so you want to do something exciting? And he's like, what's exciting? Fighting a warlord. And he's like, do tell. She gets Inuyasha, she also gets, Majestia Night Owl, from Ladybug over in New York. She also so she gathers together a nice little strike team together and she also gets a few other characters, but those are the big ones. So they travel to Warworld and they battle they go directly to face Straxus head on. The thing of it, though, is that the Warworld that Straxus rules over is pretty much built out of, like, ancient energy that is draining Usagi of her Sailor, of the crystal, the power she uses to be Sailor Moon. And Straxus, and everyone's like, Straxus beats the shit out of her, captures everyone, and Usagi's like, fuck. And she's down on the dumps. However, Night Owl escapes, and Night Owl's like, look, we can get out of here, and I can I can find us a way home. And Usagi's like, no. Straxus didn't realize it, but he just laid the groundwork for his own loss. He put me... I knew that these people weren't going to willingly leave. He's you know, he's messed with their minds too much. But if I can reach them directly here in these prison cells, then we have a chance of beating him. So Night Owl's like, fuck you, I'm gonna go find Majestia. She runs off, and from there, Usagi starts building you know, every time she fights in the arena, more of her powers are decreased, and however, at the same time, she's building like trust and hope among these people who are enslaved, not just the Silver Millennials, but also, you know, other races that have been other people in the arena that have been captured. So eventually, there's a mass breakout, and during this, Night Owl manages to disable some of the power in the planet, and allows Usagi to get a bit of her power back. And this time, she goes directly for Straxus. She goes head on and battles Straxus in a head-on brawl, which eventually leads to him getting defeated and leading to the team getting back to Earth. You know, getting back to Earth. There's a little more to it. As how could Alistair lose in a fight? Well, turns out that Straxus had a few beings under at his disposal as well. One of which was shockingly was the Tall Man. Yeah, he actually had the Tall Man as one of his champions, and Alistair reveals that the Tall Man is like his boogeyman. So Alistair had met the Tall Man when he was alive, and it still scared him so bad. So throughout this is that he has to overcome his fear of the Tall Man in order to get back to himself. Anyway, so all in all, that was kind of the idea. It was just I just wanted to do something fun and just an exciting little story. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Sailor Moon the Warworld saga? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.